For 9 months, Kay and Doug Jackson have been building a wooden submarine in their Tulsa front yard. It's a near replica of a sub designed and built in 1894 by Simon Lake. He's one of the pioneers of submersibles.
He did it in order to show investors that you could have a viable submarine that had a hatch that opened to the bottom. And in 1894, not too many submarines had what's called a diver's trunk, where you could exit the submarine and go underneath it. And when he would tell people about it, they'd look at him like he was kind of crazy. So he built this little guy, which is really it is a little submarine, to show him that you can do it.
Lake's sub was called the Argonaut Jr., and so's this one. It's tiny, only about 14 feet long, 4.5 feet tall, and 4.5 feet wide at the middle. That makes it comfortable to sit in, but you can't stand up. And the whole thing only cost them about $5,000 to build.
Nothing particularly fancy about it. Most of the stuff we either made ourselves or we purchased it locally.
Almost all of it is made of plywood, coated with epoxy.
The Argonaut is plywood, pretty much. It's just 1/4 inch plywood. Nothing fancy. We got it from a local supplier. It has lots and lots of epoxy, which is like a glue, and it's a clear surface, so that's what makes it watertight.
About the only thing that's not coated is the nearly 5 tons of lead weights along the bottom used for ballast.
Okay, I know what everybody's thinking. It's obvious this thing will sink with all the lead that's in it, but will it come back up?
The Jacksons say yes. Besides the lead, this sub has ballast tanks which fill with water to lower it, then fill with air to bring it back up. And in an emergency, the lead can be dropped to make this thing pop to the surface like a cork. And just like the original, this sub is people-powered. A hand crank powers the wheels.
What Simon did is he wanted his submarines to crawl along the bottom of the ocean where you could do salvage or look for things that needed to be retrieved. And so his submarines all had wheels, which is really weird because most subs don't have wheels.
The Jacksons added a couple of modern conveniences to their sub, like a trolling motor and GPS. And their sub has 2 sources of air. The main source is called a hookah, but it's nothing like the kind used for smoking.
It's a little generator with an air compressor, and then it has lines coming down to the submarine, and those will go inside. We also have 4 scuba tanks of compressed air.
The Jacksons will take their sub on her maiden voyage at Strayhorn Landing at Lake Tenkiller this weekend, and it'll be there through July 10th so people can take a peek inside. Since Kay was a teacher for 20 years, she's encouraging schools to invite the Argonaut Jr. to stop by for a visit next fall. In Tulsa, I'm Kathy Tatum, the Oklahoma News Report.